In their final game before Christmas, the Montreal Canadiens looked like they were staying with the Stars until they collapsed near the end once again. We did have some highlights though. Jake Evans gets his first of the season. Pezzetta had a great game, but boy, there's a whole lot of breakdown on this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's Christmas edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, alongside my co-host, Jesse Poirier, and we want to wish you guys happy holidays, Merry Christmas, wherever you are in the world. We're glad you've been tuning into our show for these last few months. It's been a wild ride. We enjoy putting out this content every single day, and we can't wait to keep doing it with you guys. Jesse, that game last night, we were hoping maybe we could go into Christmas on a high, but it really it was another typical Habs game where we're up early. We really seem like we're keeping with a very good team in the Dallas Stars, and things just start to fall apart at a random point in the game, and we just couldn't recover.
Yeah, we just started taking a bunch of penalties as usual, and
Yeah.
and we ended up losing. We were in there for a good part of it. As you did mention during the intro, just kind of with 5 minutes left, the wheels kind of came off, and then it wasn't fully done, until they did get the empty netter at the end. Some strong performances by Doc. Once again, Jake Allen, Michael Pezzetta. That being said, if your best players are coming from your fourth line, doesn't necessarily put you in the best position to win.
No, it doesn't. Michael Pezzetta's first career multi-point game, so props to him. Props to my boy. I bring up this card every time. I love Jake Evans. I'm so happy he got a goal, a power play goal, nonetheless. They were, what was it, Pezzetta and Evans were on the power play tonight, and if you look at their power play points per 60, I think Pezzetta's at 300 and something. It's something ridiculous because he got a point in 10 seconds of power play time or something. Same thing with Evans. So I was super stoked to see Jake. There's a reason he's in the thumbnail. I thought he played phenomenally last night. His hustle was amazing. His goal, breaking that streak. His defense, as always, was quite good. But like you said, Montreal just couldn't get it done. If Evans and Pezzetta are your top scoring guys, it's not a recipe for success. And one other thing that I don't think is a recipe for success is breaking up your top line that has proven time and time again to really be this team's only consistent source of offense. Jesse, I know we've looked at some different wingers on that top line, the likes of Kirby Dach at some points, Monahan early in the season, even Josh Anderson with Suzuki and Caulfield. But last night, Martin St. Louis took an interesting choice in putting Suzuki on the second line with Drouin and Armia, with a first line of Caulfield and Dach. And I don't know, what were your thoughts of that line, and were you impressed with how that Suzuki, Armia, Drouin line played? Because I wasn't.
Yeah, rewarding Drouin and Armia. I know he wants to kind of reward them for their better play, but for me, if you're not converting, right, we play hockey, not horseshoes and hand grenades. Only close only kind of counts for so much. You got to convert, or else it's really not worth too much at the end of the day. Definitely not worth getting the first line look. You would think that St. Louis would kind of have it figured by now. He keeps doing this where it's take Suzuki and Doc apart, put them back together. Now Caulfield was even involved, but I think that we have to keep them together. I think that Doc can definitely be a good center, and there's a lot of slander on Suzuki right now on his play, and they're saying, oh, he's not playing well without Doc and everything. It's not so much Doc as he just needs quality wingers to play with. And if you're going to play him with good wingers, then absolutely. But until we get that, where we really feel like we have a top six, the development of Slafkovsky and everything else, we definitely need to keep that first line together. And as Josh, you mentioned, I have no problem bringing Kirby to the 2C, but that's only once, we get some better line mates for both of those centers.
I think Martin St. Louis' philosophy last night was probably along the lines of, hey, Joey and Armia are not getting it going yet. Maybe putting Suzuki there, one of our top point getters, our guy, our go-to guy if we need a point. Putting him with them will lift them up. Well, I think it did the exact opposite. I think Suzuki playing with Joey and Armia brought Suzuki's level down, and I have a graphic to prove that. Take a look at this. This is Montreal Canadiens by game score last night. Game score is just kind of an all-in-one metric of how a player plays, and you can see there's different components, offense, defense, production, and miscellaneous. And you can see Pezzetta and Evans were at the top, with Jack-Eye up there, no surprise. I thought they all had fantastic games last night, but if you go all the way down to the bottom, 3 of the bottom 4 Habs players last night, well, 3 of the bottom 4. The bottom 3, if you look at it there, Armia, Goulet, Suzuki, but then Drouin. So Drouin, Armia, and Suzuki were all in the bottom of the game score, with Suzuki being the lowest game score on the team. And that's not a consistent thing. Suzuki has consistently been in the middle or up in the high tier. He rarely has a bad game when it comes to game score because of his good two-way play. But last night you saw Doc up near the top. You saw Caulfield up there with some very good defense last night. And Suzuki just down at the bottom, rotting away with Armia and Drouin. I get it, Coach Sandley, you want to make some changes, but that clearly is not the one. I think that needs to be shifted around for next game. I think you got to go back to Suzuki, Caulfield, and Doc. And Jesse, what are your thoughts about maybe... Do you think there's ever a chance, like, if Marty is keen on maybe not having Suzuki and Doc together, maybe trying to get Doc as a 2C or playing him more at center, do you think we could maybe see Suzuki, Caulfield, Monahan back once Monahan is back from injury?
Because I think Doc has developed a little bit further than we thought. So yeah, like at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't say that, but because Doc's really shown that he can handle his own line, and maybe Monahan is that player to kind of step in, and I definitely could see that just with his intelligence matching very well with Suzuki. We've already seen them work very well on the power play together for the most part. So that'd be an interesting look. I think that other than keeping the Doc line along with Suzuki and Caulfield together, that'd be the one other person that I would try just to try balancing out the scoring between those first two top lines.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Balanced scoring is something we've been searching for desperately this season. I think Coach Marty tried it last night, but yeah, we got some depth scoring last night. The problem is our top lines were messed around and they seem to just not be clicking at all. Our power play goal came from Jake Evans, from Michael Pezzetta. And man, I just feel like the whole team was shifted around a lot last night. And not only our power play was weird, but like our penalty kill was abnormally bad last night. Jesse, I know we were watching and the refs were not great last night. I know some people claiming biased refs. There was some iffy calls for sure, but whatever, I digress. But the Dallas Stars had a 100% power play percentage last night. Montreal didn't kill a single penalty, and that's been our strength.
I believe they were 3 for 5.
Were they 3 for 5? Or sorry, there was
but
maybe
still
they were
not good though.
Sorry, no, yeah. I had the stat wrong, but there was when someone was on the ice. I forget who it was, but it was 0%. So my bad there. 3 for 5, but still, the penalty kill is something we've talked about every single game, right? If our power play's not going, at least our penalty kill has looked good. Last night it didn't. Dallas was able to capitalize on basically every chance they got. They were getting to their spots with ease. I don't know if that speaks to our defense again. I mean, I feel like I can't blame them every single night, but I think the guys might have just been tired. And one thing I saw people say is Suzuki might just be getting exhausted. Like, we got our top guys dogging it the whole game, playing 20 plus minutes almost every night because we desperately need their scoring. And even if they're not playing 20 minutes, we need guys like Caulfield, like Doc, to be out there playing hard hockey every single minute if we really want to compete. Do you think that, because I'm of the opinion that if we keep doing this, if we keep forcing these guys to have these really brutal shifts, trying to get the team back into the game every time they're on the ice, that's going to wear the guys down. And not only just, the team might end up losing more games, but you got to wonder, like, that can't be good for their long-term health. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to be careful. We definitely have a young decor. Like, the best part about our team right now is that we got 4 rookie defensemen who are arguably 4 of our best defenders on the year so far. The other worst part about our team is that we got 4 rookie defensemen carrying the lion's share. So of course there's going to be a little bit of a disconnect there. I think a little bit of experience comes into definitely taking some penalties. Jack Eye's been no stranger to the penalty box so far this year. I will still say, though, that needs to be an ongoing conversation that Marty St. Louis has to have with his team because, I mean, taking 5 penalties against a team like the Stars that are working at a 25% efficiency rate, they're definitely going to convert. We saw their power play was really quick. They're moving the puck. Probably a lot of great notes for us to learn for a modern kind of power play. You need a lot of movement, so I think they have a really good structure to fall on that. And yeah, we definitely can't be taking penalties to these guys.
It's almost like taking a lot of penalties is a bad thing. It's been a common theme this season, and it's something that the Habs just can't get through their heads. I'm sure they understand it, but the problem is we're taking risks, and those risks are leading to penalties, and those penalties are leading to goals against. And with a team like this that really lacks depth scoring, it makes it very tough to get back into games. Even on a night where Jake Allen was phenomenal again, the team just couldn't fight back. It was sad, it was brutal, but what I will say, Jesse, and I saw this comment on Reddit, and I thought I'd just reflect some of the sentiments that they had. This guy said basically, and I agree with it too, if you had told me at the beginning of this season, if you had looked at Montreal's roster, the schedule up to Christmas, knowing that this team is just probably not going to compete, if you said that Montreal was only a couple games below 500, if you said this Suzuki was on pace for 35 goals and 75 points, if you looked and said Caulfield is on almost a 50-goal pace, you said Arbor Jackeye is turning into a star defenseman, Caden Gooley already looks like a top-pairing guy, Jake Allen and Sam Montembeault is having a career year, you'd be happy. And I think that's a good perspective to take, because I came into the season almost expecting nothing, but this team has blown me out of the water every single game. Yeah, we find things to complain about, to criticize every day, but I'm very happy with the position we're in. What about you?
You're so right, Josh. There's so many positives to take away from this team. So I'm really happy as well, all things considered, for sure.
For sure. I mean, we just made it to Christmas. We got the new year coming. We got a few days break, and I can't wait to see what Montreal does on the other side of this break, into the new year, into the trade deadline. There'll be so much more content for you guys. But in the meantime, if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, leave a comment, something like that. We're really glad you're here with us. And like we said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Josh Gosse for Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.